Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here, and welcome to Anime Retrospect. Today's re-reviewing anime on Anime Retrospect. We're going to be doing a re-review in honor of its anniversary on this day, which is Cowboy Bebop the movie, for today's re-review here on Anime Retrospect. So the story goes on by as how Spike and Jet has encountered a robbery going on in a convenience store where those local criminals who are robbing a convenience store, which I think this takes place on October in the setting of how this movie goes. And then this wasn't long until Spike Spiegel came with the headphones, and he was basically knocked out one of those criminals who are guarding the convenience store during the convenience store robbery. But then Spike Spiegel couldn't hear what this criminal bloke always was saying, and then he found one of those New Year's Eve fire popper thing ones, and then he kicks the criminal's ass, and then press hot coffee button on that criminal, and then the shootout going on in the convenience store when Spike and Jet has taking out to kick at those criminals' ass in a convenience store. Of how this goes, which has gone pretty well from how you expect in how the story goes in Cowboy Bebop the movie. So, and he saved the elderly woman at a convenience store after he takes out the criminal with his gun. Because you guessed it, he's just your typical normal bounty hunter in this. And we get to the scene of how Spike and Jet realize something of how until Ed has found something. And then we get to the part where Faye Valentine was basically tracking some hacker, which goes by the name Lee Sampson, on the something what's going on in this part of the movie, if you ever watch this movie. And the scene is where things go quite well of how you want to know until a mysterious terrorist villain, which goes by Vincent, came out of the truck. She thought it was Lee Sampson, but it was not. It was Vincent. And then something blown up on the highway, especially down in the Progress. They encountered an explosion of how a terrorist like Vincent has caused the chaos, until things just go how you expect until the new, because especially of how this story progresses, of how you want to see, of how we want to, which you guessed it, he does maybe a little more different than any other ones of how and then by this time they were figuring out about how something on the news about the 300 million Wulons, which has happened on the planet Mars, as how the setting goes in this movie, including of how you would see Beck seeing this in Cowboy Bebop the movie, of how you want to know for this one. Especially with the false ID card, if they trace Lee Sampson's false ID card, when he used a card which was blown up, but it was actually Vincent, who is a terrorist, and they figured out of how they want to hunt him down with which is like every certain day before Halloween, until Spike has figured out around the town, and he met some other locals who are the part, until he met Rashid at a place in this one, especially for a bounty hunt, because Spike Spiegel, who is still the kick-ass bounty hunter, he ended up around the Rashid town, its area, about how the drugs and about the broad beans as well. How you would, which is you want to know about the virus come from the truck incident of what happened. Rashid asked him, "Do you believe in demons?" As how he wanted to know about what he explained to Spike Spiegel for this, of how Spike Spiegel could understand until he got the vase thing, until he has encountered a mysterious woman named Elektra in this particular scene. Lee Sampson was with Vincent, who was a terrorist, always taking out the police as well, because Vincent killed the police, and then because you guessed it, because he's a killer, a villainous terrorist, like what Vincent always has. And then by this time, of course, things just don't quite going pretty well. Vincent always has that luggage thing of how he was going to plant nanodroids as well, which causes the cancer and the virus, or any type of virus, of how it goes in what you expect to see. When they thought it was a drug company was up to something, what Jet Black said to Spike Spiegel said about there was something really suspicious going on, until they found one of those things that looked like a marble, which was like those. And then Lee Sampson was playing a video game until Faye Valentine showed up, and then it wasn't long until she shoots the game, Lee Sampson's arcade game, when he needed 500 points, and then she knew that he was up to something, because he knows it was a hacker. And then he causes the power going out, and then he went and make a run but things just don't quite well when he took off running from Faye Valentine of what Lee Sampson did. By this time, of course, things just don't quite pretty well of how you would see something until Spike Spiegel has met Elektra from before, when he was working like as a janitor, and then he wanted to know in the fight duel conflict and all, but he was all well until he had to take it out on those security the guards in this place, and then he took off running because he doesn't realize if they're up to something, of how you would expect. And then, for some reason, of how you want to know something in Cowboy Bebop the movie, Ed went trick-or-treating, which is like on October 30th, when she was tracking down Lee Sampson and all, but Lee Sampson went off when he has a bargain with a terrorist like Vincent, but that wasn't long until Vincent killed Lee Sampson, but then Faye Valentine wanted to know something, who caused it. But then Lee Sampson died because he was all. But then something causes her, like some sort of deadly air thing, and then he tried to. Vincent did try to rape Faye Valentine for no reason. But then things just going well. Other than that, which is not in a good way, and then he's ended up into that subway train on the air thing, and then during the chase on there, when Spike Spiegel encountered her to battle conflict between him and Vincent, what you see in this movie. because you know what I mean, something. And then Elektra had to stop Vincent, but he did beat the crap out of Vincent. But Vincent always wanted to overpower him, but just almost not in a good way of how. But then she pulls the gun at Vincent, but then Spike Spiegel has fallen off that rail car train thing, and the smoke grenade things that cough others things as well. But until he was rescued from this Native American character with the wolf, who was calls by the name Swimming Bird as well. In the after, and he wanted to figure out, and until morning comes and Jet Black came, they were wanting to know about where Vincent was up to. And then by this time, of course, of how things just going well, and then you want to know for this particular reason, Vincent has killed the person who was at the apartment where Lee Sampson was killed, and then Halloween comes and Elektra and Spike Spiegel were trying to stop Vincent as well. They ended up on the Halloween parade thing, something going on, how you expect, as how they ended up on their, when Spike Spiegel had a battle conflict between him and Vincent, of how on top of the tower of the building during the Halloween gala party parade thing, including balloons everywhere in that tallest building tower, and Spike tried to fight Vincent in this, as how the conflict battle goes, which is almost in a bloody battle in the progress. Vincent blows up the pumpkin-like parade balloon thing, and then the rain comes, because they thought that the nanodroids are the cancer things were trying to kill it all. But then the rain comes, I think it converts it all to clear it all from recovery. But Vincent tried to kill Spike, but that wasn't long until Elektra has killed Vincent instead, because that's how she wanted to stop Vincent from killing Spike Spiegel as well. And of course, the rain has come during a Halloween. They thought, the rain had spread the vaccine faster. They thought the nano machines could act, of how if there was a rainbow in this movie, and that's how you end Spike Spiegel, of how everything's gone pretty well when it was raining in this movie. And not only that, Spike Spiegel went back to how he remembers of how this movie goes, particularly of how things just gone well after he defeated Vincent. He said, in this movie, he said, a man lived in another world. He was the kind of guy. And that's how you end this movie with, are you living in the real world? So this movie was released on September 1st in 2001, which is 10 days before September 11. But this movie has gained a box office, not your typical big weekend movie in the box office, when it was first released here in the U.S. as well. This movie was directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, who worked on the Cowboy Bebop TV series and Space Dandy as well. So, happy 20th anniversary to this movie. So that's going to be it for my re-review on Cowboy Bebop the movie, because this is the first time I wanted to do a re-review on Cowboy Bebop the movie for the very first time as well. Hope subscribe for content. My Anime Planet link in the description below. You can share this video on your Twitter, Facebook if you have Twitter and Facebook account, on all social media. Smack the like button if you enjoy this video. Be sure to feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section. Keep it otaku for Anime Retrospect. And this is Rurouni K95 signing off. Thanks for watching my video. And we'll see you soon for the next re-review here on Anime Retrospect. Until next time.